the South. Did we have this conversation last week?
Yeah.
So I'll start it off. What is Arkansas?
You know, this motherfucker's trying to be a teacher. I just told him how much I dislike teachers in school and shit.
I'm not even trying to teach. I just like to hear.
I know, but I know you have. You do want to hear my answer. Respect, because out of respect, he does want to hear my answer.
Yeah.
But he has his own expected answer. Now we're not going to disagree whether who's right or wrong because you can't.
Yeah.
So, ask the fucking question again. Go ahead.
What would you consider Arkansas? Is that the South? Is that the Midwest? Is that Central? Like, what name do you give Arkansas?
I would give it the South.
I would say so too.
Oklahoma?
Oklahoma's kind of a different breed because living in Texas so long, Texas, they don't need the rest of the United States. Believe me, they think that, and they probably almost know that. They have a lot of refineries. They have their own power grid. They could say fuck it to the rest of them. So I don't even consider Texas the South. I consider it its own fucking entity. And I can't even, I could go on forever trying to describe the mentality just in general, not everyone, you know what I mean? Yeah, not everyone wears boots. Not everyone rides a fucking horse. You know what I mean? Everyone has their perception of Texas. I call Oklahoma the South. And if I had to classify Texas, it would be South too. Because when I say Mexico, what are you going to say? South. Well, where is Mexico? Texas, Mexico.
Yeah. What's
Arizona? You know, they're close. They're close to the East Coast. I'm not sure.
Technically, Arizona is the South. Technically,
South.
Because it's right behind. It's right behind Texas.
Southwest, yeah.
But I mean, when you say Mexico is south, and that's what I think of, but it's also south of California. But when I think of California, I don't think anything's south. You know what I mean? That's the West Coast. California's a different breed too.
Or you can classify Arizona as the West Coast.
Almost. That's what I would say.
Classify as the West Coast. Can't you classify? What is it? Nevada? What's the state? What are we next to? We're in Colorado. What's to the left of us?
Nevada, New Mexico.
Which way are you facing?
Utah.
Okay, we're at the top.
What's to the left of Colorado?
Nevada.
So is Nevada West Coast?
Yeah. That's
before I moved here, I thought Colorado was West Coast. People say Colorado isn't West Coast.
Colorado's
Midwest.
But see, I'm from Michigan, and people from like New York and Pennsylvania, they'll call it the Midwest. And I just call it the North. You know why? Because when you say Canada, what do you think of? The North. Guess what? Michigan, that mitten sits right here. Canada's right here. And some of Canada trips down even south of Detroit. Look at the map. So I consider Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin.
What is Utah?
Utah, Midwest.
West?
It's far west.
I think there's a bracket called the Northwest. There's the West Coast, then there's the Northwest, but
okay,
that's Montana.
Let me see that.
Utah is right next to Colorado.
Utah and Nevada.
Yeah, the Four Corners.
Yeah.
I learned that.
So
Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico.
Now,
and then Wyoming's up top.
When you say East Coast, when you say West Coast, I think of California, maybe even Oregon. But my son, he lives in Washington, and I consider that the North.
And that's
'Cause-
that's crazy. That's Mexico. I thought that was there. So Mexico. Look at that. It's like right there by California. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I think of South, I think of Texas and Mexico, New Mexico even, but I don't think about it's also south of California, because if I was in that part of Mexico, whatever that is, I would say, I'm in California or I'm on the West Coast.
But New Mexico wouldn't consider itself the South. It would consider itself Midwest. That's weird though, because it's right. It's right by Texas.
This motherfucker just started a conversation. That's all that happened right here.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna look at the whole.
But let's switch this up.
Now, I was gonna say. Now I'm gonna look at the whole world different, and he's about to open up a globe here.
What's Kentucky?
Kentucky is the South.
I would consider Kentucky the South.
Kentucky is the South.
What's Ohio? What's
Kentucky,
the difference?
Ohio. The difference is Ohio's here and Kentucky's here. There's a reason for that though, and it is partly on how you were brought up and where you were brought up. Okay, because I was brought up in Michigan.
So what is Missouri? If Kentucky's the South, Missouri has to be the South.
Ohio.
I would say Missouri, Ohio, Missouri. Okay, I would say Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri are Midwest. I would even throw Kansas. I would throw all these states right here. That's the Midwest. Anything down here, South. Anything down here from Michigan, I consider South because my dad's from Kentucky. So he would always say he's going down home. And when I was a kid, I didn't know what that meant. He meant he was going to Kentucky. And there's hillbillies in Kentucky. So that's definitely the South. Right?
How they act in Kentucky is Southern. They act like Southern.
So
people in
Tennessee, right underneath Kentucky. By the way, check this out. If you look at Tennessee and you turn it sideways, Lake Michigan is almost as big as Tennessee. That's how I try to explain to some people how big that shit is. It looks like the fucking ocean. And if you've never seen it, it looks like the fucking ocean. Dude, you're not looking when you're on Michigan on this side and you're looking across the way, you don't see Wisconsin, you don't see Chicago, Illinois. That shit's way the fuck, man. There's 20 barges between you and them. It's insane how big that is.
Tennessee also has 2 time zones.
Do they?
Yeah, Memphis and Nashville are 2 time zones.
Oh yeah, because they part of it.
The second you leave Georgia going west, you go in central. The second you get into Alabama, you go east.
Interesting conversation you got going there, teacher.
I just love talking about it. Okay, so what do we call in Maine, New Hampshire? That's the north, right?
Yeah, that would be
East Coast.
Yeah, that would be East Coast, because this is where the hurricanes are going to hit right here, all on the East Coast. Virginia, I would even, North Carolina, South Carolina, that's all the coast. Georgia.
So wait, we're not saying South Carolina's not the South?
It's south of Carolina, but it's on the East Coast.
But it's not the South, though.
No, it ain't the South, man. The South stopped up here at Tennessee.
Well, you said Tennessee, so Kentucky's not the South.
Kentucky's the South, Tennessee's the South, Virginia's the South.
Okay, of course, we're just talking shit. How can Kentucky be the South, but South Carolina's not the South? South Carolina is right there.
Right by Georgia.
South Carolina is south of Carolina on the East Coast.
So it's East Coast. All right.
Yeah.
So if you had to classify South
if you
Carolina,
could be
you're
hit
gonna say
by
East Coast, or you're going to say South?
if you could be hit by a hurricane on the East Coast, you're East Coast.
Georgia's East Coast, though.
Georgia-
South.
Georgia is East Coast. Am I right?
Yeah,
You
it
got
is
hit
on the
by
East Coast. It is on the East Coast.
So if you had to give,
So is
if
Florida.
you had to give Georgia a classification, would you say East Coast or the South?
You know, Florida is such a
We
weird
don't do
fucking
Florida.
place.
Florida, we don't.
Okay, we can't even talk about Florida. Okay.
It's its own world over there. It's like a small.
Technically, if I was in Michigan, I would say Georgia is south, Florida is south. There's a highway that connects I-75 connects Michigan all the way down to Florida Keys.
It's called Gator Highway. Florida,
Yeah.
once you drive, you just know the Gators on the side.
That's where you get rid of the bodies. Right?
I-75, baby.
Wow.
They don't- I-75, man. They're always wondering what happened to Jimmy Hoffa, and they're always looking around Michigan for him. I-75 is a highway straight out of Michigan, straight to Florida. straight across. What did you call it? Gator Highway? Yeah. You think they put him in cement or buried him under a barn or something? Fuck no, man. Them dudes were like rolling. Straight gin all the way. Florida. Yeah. Pick up some girls. Have a good time. He's being eaten. You'll never find that dude. Never. Louisiana, that's the South.
Where's North Carolina? East Coast?
East Coast. North Carolina, classified.
North Carolina is the East Coast.
South Carolina. All right.
I
I'll
guess
say it's South.
I gotta put that in.
It is South.
South Carolina and North
I'm totally agreeing with you. It is South
It is South.
of Carolina. Is North Carolina north then?
It's East Coast.
Let's flip it.
Is North Carolina, would you consider that the North? No, I'm not considering that the North. I gotta consider that.
Says it right here, bro. North. North Carolina.
You don't consider South Dakota the South.
That's what I'm saying. It's East Coast, man. Let's just split it right down the middle.
I consider South Dakota Northwest. Maybe that's not the thing, but that's northwest of.
Where's South Dakota? Let me see.
Right here, right above Nebraska.
Oh no, that can't be Northwest. If that's Northwest, what is Nebraska?
No, it's Midwest. I say Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, Minnesota, North Dakota, all the Midwest.
Colorado.
Colorado would border Midwest just because we're boxed in. But as you start touching Utah and then you get to Nevada, you're like, okay, so is this Midwest Utah right there? Well, they're Western as hell out there. I know that. And what is Idaho?
Northwest.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to use Northwest as a classification, then yeah, we would have to say Northwest.
You have to say it.
Because I don't know what the fuck Idaho is.
And then so with Washington, but sometimes some people say from California say Oregon's the West Coast. It is the West Coast though.
It is the West Coast.
And Washington. Montana, Wyoming, Northwest.
This guy right here. See, I knew it. That's why I want to hang out with him. He's challenging. He makes me angry and challenged at the same time. Let's have a little history. Let's have a little world. Let's have a U.S. history. Yeah. You went to U.S. history?
Yeah, I went to U.S. history.
You went to U.S. history? Fuck U.S. history. I didn't go to U.S. history, man. You know what I was doing? Probably smoking cigarettes, trying to figure out how to make money. You hit on the topic there, and let's change the subject here. I got one for you. You hit on the subject. I love telling this story because it's old, and I like telling old stories. So you said you didn't really watch much porn. I don't either. And here's why. I'm an ex-porn dealer, okay? I started when I was a kid, 13 years old. I was in the Boy Scouts. We used to collect newspapers and other shit, clothing and shit. So we'd pass out these bags, and then the next week we'd come by and we'd collect the newspapers, bundles of clothes, or whatever. I'm a smart dude, trying to make money. I figured out these guys are putting Playboy and Penthouse magazines in between those newspapers. And my dad has a van. So he's the one picking it. You know, we're the ones picking up all the big bundles of newspapers. That's where I really learned knot tying, because I'm in the back cutting these bundles open, fishing these magazines out, and retying that shit and selling it later on. Right? Business. Entrepreneur. No history there, bro. I did not take history, no. Do I know a little bit about it? Yeah, but no, not in a classroom. No. Making money. So fast forward years later, I'm in my early 20s. This is early 80s. And my mom and dad run a place called the Law Cabin, which is adult bookstore. They also have peep shows. They also run, back then they had VHS tapes. So they would run the VHS tapes illegally and show them in an upstairs theater. Similar to the one Pee Wee Herman was caught in many years later, doing some weird stuff, right? Whatever,
I
dude.
don't know that story.
Whatever. Okay.
Oh, Pee Wee Herman.
We go into that later. But so what I would do, what my mom used to buy used magazines, and in this particular store, you couldn't show
I'm not shocked.
any penetration in the magazines. Even if two tongues touching, you weren't allowed to sell that magazine. So I would sit in the back of this store, 1982, 83, $20 an hour my mom would pay me, which is astronomical, with a big marker with my mom smoking cigarettes and blacking out the penetration. You want to get lunch, pizza, whatever? Yeah. I would call in sick to my regular job to go black out porn with my mom. So I never really, you know what I mean? It wasn't for me, man. I was like, not desensitized, but if I'm going to look at porn, I'm going to try to figure out how I can make money off of it. I mean, you seen that Pam and Tommy story about, I don't know what it's on. I think it's on Hulu. About, they leaked their sex tape and all this.
Oh, Pamela.
Yeah.
And Tommy.
The dude saw money, and a lot of other people saw money. The problem was he didn't realize people hook up 6